We are carrying on with our discussion about way back when women would get hysterical. It would be a hysterectomy, removal of the uterus, cervix, fallopian tubes, because women were in hysteria. Hysteria used to be a medical term. Now we just know it's the cause of life. And sometimes other people in our life. Just kidding. So the treatment for hysteria was a hysterectomy. Inside your pelvis lives cervix, uterus, fallopian tubes. Your ovaries are pinned to the outside of your pelvis. They are not connected to the fallopian tubes. The fallopian tubes have these little fingers called fimbriated or fimbria. And they're like little fingers, and they collect the egg, goes up through the tube to the inside of the uterus, and that's where it gets fertilized. That's how babies are made. Little babies. So if you don't want to have a little baby, don't let those two things connect. Now, a hysterectomy, okay, is hysterectomy. For the most part means we remove the uterus, the cervix, and the fallopian tubes. A total hysterectomy means the ovaries also, okay? Reasons to remove ovaries. Cancer, obviously. Tumors, masses, growths, cysts. Endometriosis, okay? Which means the cells from inside the uterus that usually leave when you get your period, they reflux through the tubes and they deposit inside your pelvis. The problem with endometriosis is these cells are now trapped inside your uterus. They sometimes implant on the ovaries, they implant on the fallopian tubes. Now remember, inside your uterus, when the lining is building up, getting ready to shed, called a period, menstrual cycle, whatever Aunt Joe or Ho or Lo or Mo is visiting, these cells build up. And at the end of the month, they shed, you get your period. If they reflux or go backwards through the tube, and they deposit into the pelvis, they're trapped. But remember, the hormones that are still telling this lining to build up every month are also telling these cells to build up. And these start to react. And they start to grow, just like they're inside their pelvis, because they are not in their home. They've gone rogue. Now, this creates problems because we can't get to them. They can't escape your pelvis. So a lot of times they'll go on your ovaries and they'll create big cysts that stay there. A lot of times if we go in to do an operation, to do a cyst removal, these are called chocolate cysts. And they're called chocolate cysts because the fluid inside of them are brown, meaning old blood. So they're old blood cysts. You can imagine if your happy little ovary is just trying to do its job and create and pop out one little egg like it's programmed to do every month, and these cells, which are supposed to live in here, are outside creating problems and havoc and inflammation and bleeding, it creates a cyst, your body's mechanism to contain something. So remove ovaries, cancer, tumor, cyst, endometriosis. Oh, and the big one, risk reduction surgery. Meaning, is there a genetically proven gene that is being passed down from a family member to family member to family member? Okay, so this is called risk reduction surgery. And this can put people into, boom, surgical menopause. Surgical menopause. And if you are young, meaning really less than 45 for sure, you are void of some very important hormones, and you should really be considered for some type of treatment, but it gets tricky because we don't want to put you on estrogen or progesterone, which was the reason we wanted to remove the ovaries, because depending on which BRCA gene you have, you might have a risk of breast cancer. So anyway, hysteria, hysterectomy, total hysterectomy is the removal of most of your parts. And just for one last fun lesson, when we say hysterectomy, I'm going to write slappy. It means uterus, cervix. When we write salpingectomy, it means the tubes. And when we write oophorectomy, it means the ovaries. So a hysterectomy, bilateral salpingectomy, bilateral oophorectomy means total hysterectomy.